We are going to be talking about the future of, we're not going to call it film because there's really no film anymore. It's more entertainment. And we made that switch, I don't know, about 7, 8 years ago. I've been in media and entertainment for most of my career. Made the switch to interactive 2019, platform startups, and then into tokens and large communities. So have a bunch of that background. Um, on the stage with me, I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves and what they're doing. Alan, you want to start?
Hi, everybody. My name is Alan Dam. I'm currently working in the media film technology space, and we're bringing in new technologies and way of financing to motion pictures.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ted Galliano, and I've spent a couple of decades at 20th Century Fox making movies as president of post-production, and I'm actually still on the Fox lot um, doing performance capture, game engine, and AI, and starting our own little animation studio.
I'll go. This is Ali. I've been in the film and entertainment space for a while, as a producer as well as a technologist, let's call. And I had a tech startup called Untold. We tokenize IP in a compliant way using regulation crowdfunding. I've been also on studio lots. I was on Universal. Now I'm on Paramount lot, and we've been in this space for a while, tokenizing IP. And we have some exciting announcements today.
Hi, I'm Danny Yang. So I've been working in blockchain and tokens for a while. I started a Bitcoin exchange in 2013. Today's the Coinbase equivalent in Taiwan. I started a blockchain analytics company in 2015 and also worked on tokenizing property rights back then, but it was too early. But now, we're working on tokenizing other aspects. And also created On-Chain Monkey, which is an on-chain generative art project that we'll talk about a little bit more around tokens and film.
Amazing. So we're going to get started. We're going to take it from traditional filmmaking into the new way of filmmaking, and we're going to bounce back and forth. We'll start with Ted. Where does the impact of AI, tokenization, and traditional filmmaking break off?
Well, I get the big one first. Look, I think, and Robert, who was before us, I thought was great, and I agreed with just about everything he said. A little darker vision of what I think, because right now I think you have to be open to all the opportunities, and if you don't embrace AI, tokenization, you're gonna miss the boat, and it's a big boat to miss.
Alan?
Oh, well. We're doing some things unique in the financing side with the blockchain technology with film financing, allowing the filmmakers to be able to capture that revenue opportunity in a nonlinear way of moving it to more of the beginning development phases versus the last part through customizing merchandise and fan engagements where you can pre-buy in, pre-invest into the project through on-chain.
And where are you finding the communities who understand it well enough to do that?
Mainly the old fans that used to collect physical collectibles, and now we're asking them to kind of venture into a way of having the physical and digital component to it. So an example would be, let's say we're making a movie about a spaceship, and then say Ted is a fan of spaceships, and he said, look, I want to buy that spaceship. So we would then sell him the, what do you call, the NFT or whatever the asset of that spaceship, and it'd be named after Ted's spaceship in the movie. He owns it. He has a piece of that collateral and a piece of that memorabilia from the physical and digital component.
I'm coming to see you. I'm a stormtrooper, so I want to go. I need to tokenize myself.
And that is a true thing. He was in Star Wars. So let's talk about that in the assets, because it's kind of like exactly what you guys are doing, right? With On-Chain Monkey?
Right. What we're doing right now, maybe this is the first time we talk about this publicly. But let's talk about On-Chain Monkey a little, and then we'll talk about how we're tokenizing what we're tokenizing.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
go ahead.
well,
I'll let Danny explain.
yeah, so NFTs are actually a very broad thing. They're basically non-fungible tokens. So that's a unique tokens or unique identifiers or pointer to things. But actually NFTs, they're certain like art in NFTs is an aspect that I've been working in for the last few years. And that's a subclass of NFTs and in particular on-chain art. So on-chain monkey is really in the on-chain art and the conceptual art of how do you even, own something that's, digital and immaterial. Uh, and what is it you own, right? Do you own a reference to something, right, on IPFS, or do you actually own something, a piece of a blockchain? And so that's the whole idea around the art of on-chain monkey, which on the surface is a 10K PFP collection, which is also a type of thing now. There are groups of communities that are very into these 10K collections. On-chain monkey is one of those. And it's also been around for 4 years. So we've had this diehard community that loves these. But it's also one where there's a new aspect of art on Bitcoin, as in on-chain art on Bitcoin that we've been helping. So it's a combination of art and technology of creating this new type of art. And that's at the core of on-chain monkey. And now we're venturing to we want to show off this more and also use tokens in the fungible sense to actually tokenize a film.
Amazing. So I just have a crazy question here, and I don't know how you guys are going to answer it. But when you look at a traditional film studio that's sitting in Hollywood right now, how do they wrap their brain around what it is that you guys are all doing when it comes to the tokenization of a film, the understanding of an NFT, what's an asset, what isn't an asset, how do you engage the fans? Like, is this a real break off of a traditional film studio forevermore? Or is it a combining of old and new?
I can go first if you guys don't mind. I mean, because I just as soon as you asked the questions, I started thinking about some of my core memories in the space, and some of them are traumatizing. But yes, it is difficult for an average industry executive to understand what it means or what we're trying to do. One, because obviously it's a very new technology, and even people in crypto don't really, you don't really have to understand how to tokenize IP. Um, Especially with all the, buzz going around. But also, I think the second part of it is really about um, the noise, because there has been a lot of initiatives in the field that are non-compliant that threw a lot of people off because, I don't want to drop names, but there has been a lot of different coins or initiatives in Hollywood that kind of busted in a bad way, and that created bad image on blockchain crypto stuff in general. You just became the crypto guy in the crowd versus, this new wave. And I think now this year, thankfully, is changing. And I'm happy to be a part of it from the beginning to now. And we started off as a normal equity crowdfunding company. We didn't, even though we had a .io URL, and I told our FINRA supervisors that that's our goal in 2021 to tokenize. That was way too early. So we started off as a normal equity crowdfunding company. We launched online campaigns to raise funds for movies, registered with the SEC. We're a FINRA member funding portal. And we would just accept non-accredited investors and accredited investors into movies using a credit card even. So now we moved everything on chain, and we call it now tokenized, because all the middleman, whether it be custody agents or payment integrations or um, even the tokenization, like companies like Tokenize started popping up, or compliant solutions for payments and custody started existing. So now it's possible to keep everything on chain, and it's not just gamifying it when you tokenize the IP. Now it's really like, as long as everything can remain on chain, now it's real.
Hmm. So I'm going to ask someone who worked in the studio system for 25 years. So really the studio system is a distribution marketing arm, pushing content out in a day and date world. I don't care if that's digital or on TV or whatever you call it. How would one approach a studio with this whole new way of working for them to be able to utilize the distribution systems that are already in place?
I think you have to attack it through the marketing angle and the engagement, and the fact that this may be, and marketing departments within studios are still very powerful. and they make a lot of decisions about what films are made. And I think, yes, what Ali was saying, that there have been some bad players in it, and there's some stink on it still, but going to the marketing folks and saying, this is a way to get to your audience, to see what sticks. It's just a different way of doing it. And I think, maybe the big studios won't jump at it, but the smaller ones on the fringe are always going to be the ones that will innovate faster and be more nimble than a Disney of the world that, they have their own way of financing movies. So.
And let's talk a little bit about that for a second. So Hollywood used to be the focal point of production. How did that system break? Where did it all go?
I think it's what Robert was saying earlier, so many different layers, fear-driven, protectionism of departments, of individual budgets. So the cost of movies has escalated. Then the COVID, all the movie theaters shutting down. Then the 3 strikes right on top of it. It was a perfect storm of when a business that has always been challenged at different times by new technology was just hit right in the face with a lot of things, and still hasn't recovered. So, I think because right now what we'll see happening at Paramount, how there's gonna be a lot of cuts in the next 2 weeks. The embrace of tech there from Oracle, whatever, will change that studio in some ways, but still, it's a big studio, and it's very hard to move freighters.
Yeah. Alan, do you have anything to add?
I think the key to a lot of this thing is to finding people like Ted inside the system that understands, the new business models. And for the studios, they'll always be there. And this is just another part of their business that's, they're going to have to adapt. And for us individuals as producers and creators, even financiers, is to find a link to the studio like Ted, who's been in the system, who understands it, and then who's welcoming these opportunities.
Yeah. Ollie, how are you doing it? So how are you going to distribute? Are you going to go to these big studios? Are you going to do fast channels? Are you going to do it all?
Well, that's exactly what we're discussing over breakfast this morning. Like I said, I've been doing this on the Universal lot for 3 years, and then I moved to Paramount for the past 2 years. And I think we're not gonna know. I think what we need right now is a killer product of in the immediate entertainment where this is done properly, and this is exactly what we're trying to achieve here, where something is properly tokenized and also properly distributed, and the right use of blockchain in every way, not just as a marketing angle. Because I think the studios are very risk averse, and they are also they're very good at understanding what's a fluff and what's not. So I think the crypto has been so much fluff up until this moment. We just need, in Hollywood, a breaking point where like I said, there's a killer product.
You have anything to add as a creative?
Well, I also come from technology, and so when we actually first launched On-Chain Monkey 4 years ago, then we also did a animated or a kind of a Hollywood type of version. Like what you see here is the original generative art version, but we also did a very detailed version. We actually hired some really great animators to create that. But now 4 years later, we're doing it all with AI. So it's basically embracing new technology.
Okay, so let's talk about AI for a little bit because it's scaring everybody in Hollywood. And I think that it's definitely something we should talk about since it's a big focal point here. How do you see AI in traditional filmmaking or television making, content making? Is it a helpful thing as a creator? Is it a hindrance? Are you scared? What do you think about it, Danny?
I think it's a great tool to, for also I think animators should embrace it, and then it's a great tool for them to basically do 10 times more possibly.
Yeah, so more throughput, so more content.
Yeah.
For cheaper.
Yeah, and better.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Ollie, you have anything to put in that?
I'll just add, for now, I really appreciate the character developments done through AI, and I think we'll just see more and more down the road.
Do you think game engines will be a part of the process as well to make it more interactive?
Yeah, well, we're building our studio based on very simplified Jim Cameron performance capture, which everybody thinks has to be super expensive, and it doesn't. It's a single operator with a director and stunt performers. You start there, we Unreal Epic Games, they're our partner. So we're deeply embedded in every new development they have coming out, and we break it. And then we layer on top of that AI. So our way to do it is we do proof of concepts and proof of companies. Small pieces, you see what sticks, you test out different AI vendors you road test them on an actual project, because the easiest thing to do is make a shot. Making a short is a little harder, making a series and a movie, that's coming, but you have to embrace it, that it's an artist tool and a pipeline tool, but you have to have the pipeline that supports it.
I agree with Ted. On our front, we've been using it pretty much on every process of development all the way to post-production. We've actually been working with a couple of artists to create an AI animated series. We're on episode 2 now that's online in YouTube that I'll be glad to share with some of you to look at how it can be done. And it's a full-on animated series that we did all on AI.
So do you think that the people that are working on films, like let's just say the assistant editor or the person who is in the story rooms, are they going to be teaching the AIs? Is that a job now?
Well, in our pipeline, we're coming up with different jobs. I mean, it's a different task for the assistant editor. That's a data wrangling in a certain way. It's fixing rigs. It's, there's different classifications. We work outside the guilds because technically what we do, we call pre-visualization. So we fall between stools, and we hope we can continue doing that.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's tough, but if you're going to make content in Hollywood, you really would like to fall within stools if you can, for as long as you can.
And so someone who came from I used to work with you a lot, Ted. You came from a very stringent background of an editor got paid a certain amount of money, an assistant, you wouldn't pay X, Y, or Z for telecine. I mean, you were a pain in the ass. So now you're saying you're going to fight the system and you're going to just break it all?
No, I'm not trying to break the system. I'm trying to reinvent the system so that we can actually make content here, because we all know it's an expensive place to live, and jobs need to change. And look, I am afraid in 18 months, what Robert was saying about the guilds come up again, and I just don't think they get how important it is to first understand AI and everything you all are talking about here. So
Yeah. And how do you guys market your film that you're now tokenizing and bringing to the world?
I think here is where the power of community is so important. So we've been building this community around On-Chain Monkey, for 4 years now. So they're going to be our first kind of crowd marketing. But then, social media, X, TikTok, all those.
And are you going to focus on are you going to focus on the world, or are you going to focus in the crypto niche, kind of tokenized world where you built these Telegram rooms and doing X spaces and things like that?
Definitely more than just crypto Twitter. So more broadly.
Broadly, nice. Alan?
Similar to what Danny was saying, we started building communities and then also having the same kind of traditional way of marketing through the studio system when that budget and opportunity gives us a moment. Yeah. But we're pretty much grassroots at the start.
And how large of a community do you need in order to tokenize a film?
As large as you can. I mean, you can start with 10 people, you can start with 100 people. Ideally, you have more than that. Our goal is to get to as many people as possible. And one new thing that we're trying is we're putting out verticals first.
Yeah.
So,
Why don't you explain that a
getting
little
started
bit?
with that. Well, verticals are obviously, as you guys know, 60 to 90 second pieces of a content. So as a part of our initial buzz creation marketing, we'll be putting out a bunch of verticals as almost teasers. And
So like short
and-
sizzle reels.
oh, actually full episodes.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. So it's just cut in very short amount of time, and then they're all tied together in a way that when you watch one, you want to watch the second, and then the third, and then the fourth, and you're just
You're leading into it.
watching it. And that's our kind of sauce in marketing at the moment.
Interesting. Alan, you doing the same?
Similar. It's like that, using different platforms to introduce characters in the scenarios. Going back to similar marketing concept we did when I was working at Fox on the Ice Age franchise, how we would put out certain pieces of content in theaters that were not being a film, but be on the characters to promote that.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, like Scratch.
That was so fun.
Scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Scratch.
That was
Thank
so
you for
fun.
Scratch.
Wow. So what do you think the future of live action compared to animation is?
Wow. I mean, we leaned into animation because it's the low-hanging fruit. We use our process for pre-visualizing live action too, but I think it's just too big a question to ask right now. Trying to do live action in LA is very expensive.
Right.
You have to go out of the country, and unfortunately, the studios they've chased the latest tax rebate, in every country, every state will embrace it, and that's why we've lost a lot of jobs here.
Well, and I think it's so crazy because they are going to all of these other countries, which where we are now teaching them how to be filmmakers and how to do it. So then they become the export of big films and television shows. So we are transferring knowledge to countries on how to do it. And I think that that's what has started cannibalizing the entire business itself.
I think it already happened.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah. I don't think it's coming back.
It's not coming back the way it's existed before.
And I think there's a very thin line between animation and live action. Most of the stuff is really animation. We think of animation as cartoon, but I'll give you an example of the movie like Gravity.
Yes.
Like
Worked on it.
8% of the movie was animation, as you guys will know, that you would think is live action. So I think with technology, live action and animation is really, it's almost the same. It's just now, how do you use it in a way that you give a better reach, where you're not so much handcuffed in the past, where you couldn't do certain things because you needed that physical component. But now with technology, AI and prompting, all that, you technically can have a scene set up and ready to go with the minimum barrier entry point.
And we're taking live action technology, putting it on performance capture to make animation. But it all leads, it's still actors acting and stunt players. You start with that, but you're on a performance capture stage, and we're taking and treating the data differently.
Do you guys have anything you want to add and announce and on chain, or did you get it all out? How you're going to tokenize it and get it going?
I mean, I think that, this is the first time we talk about it publicly, so it's exciting. We'll have a press release coming up soon, and what we're doing is something meaningful, I think, in the world of crypto as well, where On-Chain Monkey is one of my personal favorite art on Bitcoin, and now that we're bringing it on screen in a tokenized way, is, I think, close as it gets to doing it nicely, so I'm happy about it.
Good. Well, I wish you guys luck. Okay, one last question. It's 5 years from today. It's 2030. How has the entertainment business changed?
Well, hopefully we'll
Stumped them.
The only thing, I guess, we'll be sitting here and I'll be a hologram and you guys will be holograms.
We'll go one to many.
We'll be all in our own movies. And then
I'm an optimist. I think, every time there's a new technology, there's dire predictions about the death of entertainment, but the entertainment business reinvents itself, and it will survive. It'll be different, but we're still all going to be here in 5 years. I'm more worried about
I agree with that. I think Hollywood is going to be always Hollywood.
I'm a Bitcoiner. I think Bitcoin will also have more of a cultural influence on Hollywood.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely change. It takes about 7 years for technology to infiltrate into Hollywood. I watched that happen every time I introduced a new piece of technology as I was working on films. So I just think it's 7 years, and it's pieces and parts of the industry actually moving and changing. All right. Well, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? There's 33 seconds left. Huh? Yeah, I'm not getting into a political conversation. You can.
Oh. Vote.
Yeah, everybody should vote. Everybody should vote.
March today. We got a March. I was just downtown earlier. guilds right now, or those people are actually creating great art. I think we can't lose sight of that. Like, a lot of people out there that know how to actually write a script and direct a film. I mean, this is not like you go and you learn it overnight. Like, is there a comprehensive effort to retrain these people now in what AI is and the impact it will have? And if the guilds aren't doing it, the unions aren't doing it, like, is somebody actually doing that now? Because I think we're gonna lose a huge asset. We don't consider the value of those people.
I think people are doing it themselves and recognizing it. I feel like the guilds and the studios have been so dug into these positions that they've forgotten that or they've lost sight of that.
Well, that's what happened with the ITs.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like there was never when film went to digital and you were doing dailies on set or you were moving, uh, you know, cards to cloud or cards to drives, all of a sudden there became a new line item. And so part of the problem, what I've seen, is nobody ever wanted to change any budgets or add any line items. They just moved it around and copy and paste it. We did that when we were doing DIs. We would say, okay, well, what did you have for film and opticals? Add up all those numbers and that'll be the number for the DI. And there was no real reinvention of budgets and people.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
I mean, I think something to what you're saying about the guild and all the infrastructure that are being set up. I think at the end of the day, look, we're all storytellers. And if you look at it simply, these tools are just things that you bring to the table, to the campfire to tell your story to the next person. So as we evolve and as a society, stories will keep being told and more opportunities. And now with the tools, instead of 10 stories a year, you got 1,000,000 stories a year. So how do you reach your audience? So how do you filter the noise is the most kind of like things that we have to look after.
A final comment. My thanks to Michael and the House for putting such a panel and yourselves and all of us for being part of this history. I think an interesting change was noted a few days ago when the Saudis put $1 billion up to combine Lionsgate and Horowitz and Epic. It was quite the statement that there seems to be a new studio in the wings. And I wonder if anybody wanted to comment or just to say to your panel credit, the $1 billion was just transferred last week.
I don't know anything about it, and I wouldn't even know how to comment. But I could sure use $1 billion. Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah. I think we all have been spending a lot of time in Saudi Arabia lately.
A lot of money coming from there. Yeah. Thank you.